Something strange is happening in the gaming world. Prices are rising, sure, we all know that by now. But what if I told you it's not just the $70 or $80 blockbuster titles bleeding your wallet dry? What if I told you that mid-tier and even early access games are secretly creeping up in price, months or years after launch, sometimes with no major updates to justify it? No joke. King of Retail, a game that barely ran at launch, jacked up its price by nearly 67% over time. That's not a feature update, that's a daylight robbery wearing a pixelated name tag. Or Foundation, a lovely medieval city builder that casually rose from $22.99 to $33.99. Inflation, or just inflation with extra steps? This isn't just about greed, it's about how the very economics of gaming are shifting quietly while most of us are distracted by flashy trailers and pre-order bonuses. I'm Pixelated Quest and today we're unpacking the slow, sneaky death of affordable gaming in the age of inflation. Now, we all noticed it. New releases used to cost, what, $40, $50, maybe $60 just a few years ago, right? That was the standard, but in recent years the price of AAA games has jumped, and not just by a couple of bucks. Take a look at The Last of Us Part 2, $60 on release day. Fast forward to today, and titles like Starfield and Forspoken are setting us back $70. That's a 17% increase in just a few years. And don't get me started on the special editions, where you pay extra for a digital art book or a shiny steel case. Now that's a whole other conversation for another day. But you know what's more concerning? It's not just that games are launching at higher prices, it's that many are getting more expensive months or even years after they already been released. And no, I'm not talking about the usual bumps from early access to full release, we all expect that by now. I'm talking about price hikes on games that haven't had major updates or any updates at all in some cases. Take Traveler's Rest for example. Still in early access, this cozy tavern simulation originally launched at $13.99. About 2.5 years later, the price went up to $14.79. A year after that, boom, $17.99. A price increase of 29%, not exactly a price hike that matches content delivery. But to be fair, Traveler's Rest had significant updates over the years. Then there's Rise of Industry, a city builder set in early 20th century. It launched at $22.99, but later climbed to $29.99. The developers must have had second thoughts because it was adjusted slightly to $28.99. Not much, but still a signal. A price increase of 26%. And my favorite example, King of Retail, a store management simulation that I absolutely cannot recommend. It launched in a rough, borderline unplayable state, receiving minimal fixes over time, and then, get this, they announced development was finished and revealed a sequel, King of Retail 2. Yep, sequel announced, barely any support for the first game, and the price for the original game? Started at $14.99, jumped to $24.99, dipped to $24.50 for a bit, then shot back to $24.99. A price increase of almost 70% for a broken game that has been released years prior to these price increases. Absolutely abysmal behavior from the devs, but hey, that's a rant for another video. So why are game prices rising, even after release? Sure, we can blame inflation, but there's more going on here. Global economic chaos, higher production costs, remote work infrastructure, and the skyrocketing cost of talent. A game like Cyberpunk racked up a $250 million development bill. That's not just scope creep, that's a full-blown financial hurricane. But what's weird is how this trickles down. It's not just launch prices rising. Developers are bumping prices years later, sometimes with no updates in sight. Think of it like shrinkflation, but digital. You're not getting more content, you're just paying more for the same game. And it's not just AAA developers, even indies are doing it. Whether it's to keep up with currency devaluation or recoup extended development costs. That $14 indie jam might suddenly cost $20 the next year with no fanfare. And if you weren't paying attention, you'd just assume it was always this way. Now let's talk about us, gamers who are just trying to play games without taking out a small loan. A $70 launch title hurts enough, but it is even more frustrating when you finally decide to grab that early access game you were waiting on, only to find out it's jumped $10 since you last checked. Same bugs, same features, different price. It feels like gaming is turning into a stock market. You're not just buying a game, you're gambling on whether it'll cost more in the coming months. Imagine walking into a store, seeing King of Retail for $14.99, then coming back a year later and it's $25 now, with no major updates. It's the digital equivalent of surge pricing, and we're the ones getting surged. Honestly, at this rate, I just might start buying old school physical copies of games for nostalgia's sake. At least those came with a manual and a poster, remember those? But let's give the devs a little grace here, it's not all greed in some cases. Especially for smaller studios, long-term pricing can be the difference between survival and shutting down. When you're working on a passion project for 3 or more years, keeping the price static might mean you're losing money due to inflation and rising costs on everything from Unity licensing to energy bills. And the problem? When price hikes don't come with transparency or meaningful updates, it damages trust. Players feel tricked, like they missed the good deal window, and worse, they don't know if now is the right time to buy. So developers end up walking a tightrope between financial survival and fan loyalty. So what can we actually do about this? For one, developers should communicate price changes before they happen. Give us a heads up. Say, hey, we're rising the price because we added 20 new main quests, expanded the story by 2 hours and added a whole new region. Cool, that's fair. Secondly, platforms like Steam could implement a price history tracker, just like airline tickets. That way gamers could make informed decisions before they buy. And of course, support those who are doing it right. Indie developers who give frequent updates and stay transparent, they deserve your support. The price of gaming doesn't have to be mysterious, but it needs to be honest. So there you have it, folks. The rising cost of games are definitely changing the landscape of the industry, but there's still hope on the horizon. We might just need to adapt and support alternatives. What do you think? Are we doomed to keep paying higher prices, or can we turn the tide? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, keep questing with Pixelated Quest. Congratulations to the winners of this giveaway, listed here. Send me an email to claim your Steam key. If you also want to participate in the next giveaway, which will be in the next video I release, simply subscribe to my channel. I will be picking 5 random subscribers with each video releasing. I'll catch you in the next one.